If you'd asked me about the Night Lords a couple of years ago, I'd have said they've got a really cool colour scheme and they look pretty neat. Then I read the Night Lords Omnibus, and yeah, I guess I have a small army that needs painting now. Let's make that happen. I started off by emptying quite literally an entire can of Chaos Black Primer just to get these guys ready for everything else we're going to do next. Next, it was time to run some Abyss Blue from Two Thin Coats through my airbrush and basically just applying this in quite a heavy zenithal spray downwards from a slight angle just so that the undersides of the models will keep the black colour from the primer, but most of them will become blue. Once we'd done that on everything, it was time to use Witching Hour Blue to do the exact same process, but a little bit more selectively from a steeper angle, just so that the very tops of the models are getting that nicer, brighter shade, and everything else is staying either black or the darker blue. Finally, I moved on to the third shade, which is Leviathan Blue. I made sure to basically apply this almost in spotlights on the different areas that I wanted to be brighter. So in particular, the chest, the face, the pauldrons, the knees, the feet, the tops of the backpacks, things like that. This is kind of just a way to draw the eye to certain points of the model and create these volumetric highlights. Next, I took some Citadel Drakenhof Nightshade wash and covered every single bit of blue pretty heavily. There's a really lovely tone to this wash that I always knew I wanted to get involved if I was going to do Night Lords at some point. And yeah, I just go in with a largish brush, make sure to cover every single bit of blue, and it looks really, really tasty. Finally, for the blue armor, I'm taking a blue glaze from Two Thin Coats, applying it 2 parts glaze to 1 part water all over the armor plating. This just helps add a lot more vibrancy back in without kind of making it too bright and taking away the fact that I want this nice, rich, dark blue. It kind of gives us the best of both worlds. So we're about 2 hours in, and we've managed to glaze everything, which is kind of crazy. I didn't expect it to take 2 hours, but then I wasn't willing to risk applying this through an airbrush because I don't know how it would have settled. I think it would have been fine. I think in future, airbrush is probably the way to glaze. But I mean, in terms of the actual finished color, I think it's quite nice. I like it a lot. Some lightning accents on those armor plates are gonna make it pop quite a bit. But obviously I know how to improve on this in the future. So I think the next step really is gonna be not trim, funnily enough. I'm planning on leaving the trim until kind of late in the process because to get these guys looking good for the table, if I can get some other colors on them first and then hit the trim afterwards, I think it is gonna be good for basically just if I don't manage to finish everything, which is probably what's gonna happen. It's all gonna come together as we add more colors. So that is what I'm gonna focus on next. So I will catch you after the next time lapse. This is a pretty lengthy one. So we've got Black Legion here, which I'm applying to all of the weapons. And I'm also applying it to all of the armor joints where you can see the black carapace underneath. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm also doing Mournfang Brown for all of the leather pistol holsters, belts and things like that. And we're also making a start on all the red detailing with Corn Red, starting with a nice dark red, and we're going to work our way up from there. So I finished up with corn red for now. I think it's been about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I'm just taking a little breather because I'm gonna get some food real soon. Yeah, the models are starting to kind of come together pretty nicely. Okay, so we finished all the red and it's taken a little while. It's taken about an hour, hour and a half. And obviously it's not like it really covers an awful amount, but it really starts to kind of bring the models together, starts to give them a bit more character. I'm going to move on to Mechanica Standard Grey next. I've done sort of half of them with these little straps in red. Half of them are going to be grey, just because a bit of variety is nice. Yeah, we'll get back to you on another time lapse in just a second. But first, you might have noticed that I have actually changed my hoodie. This is because I have made myself dinner and I spilled bean sauce specifically, all over my nice red hoodie. It's in the wash. It was a real tragedy. It was a real shame. I bought cheap beans and the sauce is really thin. I gave it a swirl and it swirled right out the top of the pan, straight onto me. These are the beans in question. And hang on. What's that?
Don't mind me. I'm just you if you was a bean. I just wanted to remind you to thank Intel for gifting you that laptop. I heard that without it you wouldn't be able to make these videos and such. Especially that battle report you got coming out next week. You couldn't have done it without them, I says. So make sure to say thanks.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear about. Thanks, Bean Me. I hope that literally one person laughed at that because yeah, let's paint some grey. So I'm using Mechanica Standard Grey as a base for everything that's going to be white. I'll build up from there with Grey Seer and then White Star. And it's just going to give us a really, really nice white with a lot of depth. It is day 2 of painting. We ended quite abruptly yesterday. My partner was away for the weekend and she got back at about 7:30. So I immediately got up and went to see her and stopped filming and completely forgot to kind of do a summary of the day. So that's always fun. Yeah, day 2, feeling a little bit goblin-y. So is he. No idea what's going on there. Yeah, it is just after 10 a.m. So I'll unpack everything and we're gonna keep cracking on with some more Dwarven Iron, get that metal on there. And they're starting to come together a little bit more. So hopefully today they're gonna have all the metal done, all the trim done. We'll see. Catch you after this. So I'm starting with Dwarven Iron from Two Thin Coats. I really like the metallics. I want to use a nice dark metal, which I'll highlight with a super bright one to get a lot of nice contrast, which is really going to pop against the dark blue. Hello, so it is a little bit after 1 p.m. The metal's finally done. I hate painting metallics. Which bodes well because next is time for some brass. And we've got so much trim to paint.
We got so much trim to paint. Originally, I thought I was going to liquid mask off all of the blue armor paneling and just airbrush the brass over the top. I've done it with a test model. It looks great. It felt really easy, but it was a possessed. And I think there's not that much armor plating on there, and the trim is a lot chunkier, so it's a lot easier to kind of miss it. With these guys, especially the Raptors, because they're older models, it's all over the place. I think I do actually need to do some precise brush work, so I decided not to go that route this time. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. But to give you an idea of where we're up to, here's one fancy lad. You know, the coverage is there, it's good. It's funny because I spent some time doing my Chaos Lord for fun. Everyone looks like absolutely nowhere near his level. But hopefully if we get some brass trim slapped on, it's gonna look a lot better. My plan is to actually go through and do the brass on all of the helmets and all of the shoulder pads first, just because that way if we don't get through everything, you know, at least the sort of focal point of each model, the sort of, you know, the torso and the head, at least those are blocked in. And I think that doing that on everything is going to make the army look more cohesive and more finished than completely doing all of the brass on a couple of squads. So I've really got my work cut out this afternoon. We'll hit another time lapse and I'll get back to you in, it's going to be hours. It's going to be hours away. So we'll chat soon. For the trim, I decided to use top brass. This is a really cold brass, again from 2 thin coats. It applies really nicely. It is going to need a second coat, but it holds up with just 1 layer for now, for the purposes of what I need it to. So that's great.
So, taking a little break and just, you know, something absolutely crazy. Bending over a table, craning your neck, painting minis for 12 hours over the course of 2 days doesn't feel great on your neck and spine. What a shock, who would have thought? So I'm just taking a minute to go out, get some fresh air, because I badly need it. I feel a little bit under the weather, or else I might have gone for a run, but honestly right now, a nice walk is exactly what I need. And when I get home, I'm gonna get back into it for another hour or 2. Then I gotta make some food. It's our D&D session tonight, so I'll do some more painting during the session. So yeah, I'll see you when we get back home, and we'll do some more painting, and then I'll do some painting off camera. And then I think once we've kind of finished tonight, that is going to be it for the week. We'll have done, I need to figure out exactly how many hours it will have been, the entire process, but we'll figure that out, and we'll show off what we've managed to achieve. So, see you when we get back home.
After getting home and doing all the things that I was just speaking about, I basically didn't have any extra time for filming, so it didn't happen. During D&D, I did crack on. I did a lot more brass, kept hammering it out, and obviously there is a long way to go with this army. But in terms of painting everything to a tabletop standard for a match in a very short span of time, I'm pretty proud with what we managed to actually achieve. Over the Christmas break, I'm going to take these guys away with me and keep chipping away at them, keep working at them, and hopefully have them finished pretty soon. But I think if we compare this challenge to our Deathwing one and our Drakari one, this one is the one that to me feels like it's the most finished. It's the one that feels like we got the furthest with it. And I think it's because of how I've chosen to attack. The way that we limited ourselves with the brass has really helped them come together as a cohesive army, because if I'd been painting the brass squad by squad, I maybe would have finished 5 Marines. If you want to see this army in action, make sure to stop back next week, where I'm going to be publishing a battle report, playing against some Blood Angels. It was a really fun game, really excited to get that out.
And if you want to support me, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual gubbins, you know the drill. And if you really want to support me, you can become a channel member today, getting yourself access to exclusive emotes and loyalty badges to use during our streams, as well as exclusive early access to videos coming out before they're published. Thank you so much for watching, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time.